Are you wondering, how do you create a marketing video? Well, this video is definitely for you. The truth is, humans react and interact more to video than we do to just text. And as marketers, we want conversions. Conversions come from that type of connection with our audience. So we want to make sure that we're utilizing video to get our message out there. And I promise you, you're much more likely to go viral with a video than you are with a blog post. So this video is all about videos. How meta. We're going to talk about why picking the wrong type of webinar is your biggest mistake. We'll also talk about what you need before you launch. And at the end of the video, we'll go full circle with great content planning. So for this and more, roll the intro. First things first, there are 7 different types of webinars, and if you're picking the wrong type of webinar, you're going to be connecting with the wrong audience. You're going to be sending the wrong kind of message. So why don't we dive into all of the 7 types and see which one fits for you? The first type of webinar we'll talk about is a brand webinar. This is where you're introducing a cold audience to your brand and to your movement. This can be a much more generic kind of a catch-all space for your webinar. So it's great for most people. Now, if you want to get even deeper of a connection with your people, you want to really get specific in who you're talking to, then we're going to need the other types of webinars. The second type of webinar, which is actually the most common type, is that of a presentation. This is where you're sharing information. That's what most people think about when they think about a webinar. You're going to be teaching them something. You can split it up into different secrets or different tips or techniques or steps or phases or whatever. But basically, you're going to be standing up in front of your people, whether in person or virtually, and you're going to be sharing your information. The third type of webinar, which I think is so impactful, is one that is packed full of testimonials. Because the main focus of this presentation, yeah, it's this presentation like the last one, yeah, it still weaves in your brand, but the difference is that the storyline is driven by the testimonials and case studies that you bring up. Your students and the successes that they've been able to accomplish, or your clients, and the things that they have been able to do with your system and with your help, those are going to be the stories that are going to drive your webinar. The fourth type of webinar is one that happens in a very specific time frame. This is a launch webinar where we're getting ready to show them a brand new product. So we might not necessarily have as many or as weighted of testimonials as we did in the last example, but what we are going to utilize is hype, excitement, and exclusivity. We're going to show people that there is a really cool solution that's about to be released that will only be available for a short period of time. So we have different psychological triggers that we're using. We have a different way of getting people excited and a different call to action at the end. The fifth type of webinar is one that is designed to nurture the relationship you already have with your people. This is where, say they've purchased your product, they're in your course, and now you're going to give them an exclusive training once they've reached a certain level in your course. So say your program has a certain milestone that people need to reach. And that can unlock an exclusive training or access to this exclusive webinar. You're going to give them added information to help them accelerate what they've already been able to do really, really well. That's a nurture webinar. The sixth type of webinar is one that is all about the culture of your movement. You might not be training them on something, you might not be selling them on something, you simply are showing them what it's like to be part of the movement. You can use testimonials in this, you can use case studies, you can use stories of your own accomplishments, and you can, of course, give people information in a presentation or a training format, but your main focus is all about culture. That also, as we've mentioned before, informs your call to action at the end as well. And finally, number 7 for our styles of webinar is an event webinar. So I've seen this happening really, really cool ways. So we can have a webinar that might just be 45 minutes long, right? Webinars are trying to get as short as possible. But what if you flip that on its head and you thought about your webinar being a 3, 4, 5-day event? I've even seen this done where they've extended it to an entire month. So don't be caught in that have to be short. It's a webinar, so it has to be short because attention spans are short. If your intention is correct and the information you have and you're matched correctly with your right audience, you can extend that training for as long as is required to get that information into your people. So don't just think that it has to be super short. An event style webinar can be huge. So I've given you a whole bunch of different ways to build your webinars or ways to frame that webinar. Expand your idea of what it means to do these online trainings, to chat with your community, to build new community connections. So I want your thoughts. Let me know which of those 7 ideas stands out as a perfect match for you and your audience. Let me know down in the comments below. Now, marketing videos can be rather expensive. If you haven't seen our video already on how much it costs to make a marketing video, you're going to want to check that out. But for now, all you need to know is marketing videos can be very expensive. So how can you help reduce that cost when you find a great person to help you out or a great organization or company to help you out putting your video together? Well, I got your back because you want to make sure that you are collecting as much B-roll as you can. Go out and be on the lookout constantly for ways to grab those testimonials from your people, either in written format or on social posts that you take screenshots of, or best yet, videos. If you can get one-on-one with your people and film them using their own voice to share their testimonial about your product or service, that is going to be gold for your marketing videos. The other side of this is also looking at branded intros and outros and logos and flyers and stingers and all of those. You can get a fantastic artist to work on that kind of stuff for your brand, either by hiring someone off of Fiverr or whoever's putting your marketing video may have a team that can add those assets as well. So going into that process, make sure you have your logo figured out. Make sure you have it on a transparent background. If you have logo standards and you have lots of different options for your logos in all different approved colors and styles and sizes and all that kind of stuff, you want to gather all that information, gather those files so you can make them available to your video editor. I promise you it will save you a ton of time in the long run, and also it will save you a ton of money, because if you can do the work up front, then those who you hire to get this work done will be able to just get started. Talking about getting started, I want you guys to get started on your journey of increasing your visibility. So all you have to do is hit the subscribe button and join us here on the channel. New videos for you, helping you increase your influence, your authority, and ultimately your income online. Let's talk about content planning because, well, let's be honest, no matter how great your webinar training is or a great marketing video, it can't just sit on its own. You need to think about the rest of the content that supports it, but also where that content and that strategy and that campaign sits within your wider content plan. Oh, I always recommend to you guys to check out in the Visibility Hackers group. We have the 1 year of content training. Jim Beard and I run that for you guys. We'll help you get an entire year's worth of content planned, and then you can literally slot in where your marketing videos are going to be. Which parts of this content plan are important enough to pay a little bit extra to get that flashy marketing video. There's lots of different options out there, but basically what you guys need to be doing is thinking about how each and every piece of your content fits together. I know I went on this journey when I started creating content for my business, and oh my goodness, I just created content that I thought was fun. I didn't really look at how it all connected. When I stepped back and saw what I had been creating for the past year, for example, it was all disjointed. it kind of made sense, but to someone just arriving on my page, it was completely disconnected. But once I started to go through the process of creating intentional content that connects in the right ways, that completely changed the game for my business. And I hope it will create the change in your business that you've been waiting for as well. And if you want to join our community where we share way more tips like this, you can join us for all of our live content and so much more. You also get access to our visibility hacking coaches absolutely free. You just have to head over to visibilityhacking.com. At the top of the page, there's a button that gets you into our visibility hacking community. It says, become a visibility hacker. That'll bring you over to our community, answer a couple questions so we know you're not a robot, and then we'll jump you in and you'll be able to check out everything. There is so much great content in there and such a wonderful community we're growing. And I want you to be there. All right, guys, I will see you in our next one. Until then, remember, I love you. Be excellent to each other, and go find your people.